Down to the ATL we go, inside out with SNY NBA insider Ian Begley. Ian, good to see as always. Knicks a dominant performance, Game 4, series tied up at 2 games apiece. Let's start with Cat. Karl-Anthony Towns, the triple-double, did tweak his calf. It appeared late in the fourth quarter. How good was Cat on Saturday down in Atlanta?
He was fantastic, and Mike Brown mentioned that the Knicks changed their early offense a bit, and the ball ended up in Karl-Anthony Towns' hands, and he was working from the elbow, he was working from the post, and wherever he was on the floor, his court vision was fantastic. The 10 assists, Knicks needed those in the first half when he really got them going, and so just an impressive game from Towns, and a game that the Knicks really needed, a game where Jalen Brunson wasn't Jalen Brunson, Towns stepping up and really giving the Knicks a big performance.
Ian, they came out with that different intensity. Could see it from the jump. Are you surprised that it took this series, being down 2-1 in this series, to get this type of performance from the Knicks?
A little bit, because I thought after Game 2 they would come down here and give you what you saw in Game 4 and Game 3. But they were lackadaisical early on in Game 3, and that probably kind of keyed them in even more. Early on, Game 4, the intensity was there, as you mentioned. The defense was very good early on, really limiting the Hawks to one shot and bothering their shooters. So the intensity here, I thought you'd get in Game 3. You got it in Game 4. Obviously, Mike Brown and the group has to find a way now to bottle it up and take it with them back to New York for Game 5.
All right, Ian. Well, Knicks were better on the glass, right? But the Hawks couldn't shoot. I think they just laid out another brick for us. They turned it over left and right. Do you give the Knicks more credit here for their defense, or the Hawks just having a bad shooting performance?
Some of the three-point shooting is variant, so I would say maybe that's a little bit more the Hawks just missing shots. But early on, that Knick defense was fantastic, and I want to say Josh Hart doing a great job on C.J. McCollum, the 34-year-old, really giving the Knicks trouble all series long. Josh Hart got the assignment early on, and I thought he set the tone with the defense, and then the 9 points late in that first half. I thought he really gave the Knicks life. We talked about the energy, the intensity. You could see that it was on his face and it was in his mannerisms all evening here in Atlanta.
All right, Ian, one final one for you. It looked like Brunson tweaked his ankle. He did, left the game, did return. Any concern moving forward with this series coming back to New York Tuesday?
He says no. He says, I'm okay. So taking him at his word, he probably wouldn't tell us if he was hurt anyway, but I think the idea that he came back into the game and he played the rest of the game, that's obviously a good sign. So I don't think there's concern there. Interesting to see how Mike Brown, though, went away from Mikal Bridges second half, going to Miles McBride yet again. He said he was riding the hot hand. So that McBride-Bridges kind of dynamic, that's something to keep an eye on as you get into Game 5 back in New York.
All right, let's talk a little Knicks playoff basketball. Ty Butler joins us. Ty, always good to see you. How about the much maligned Karl-Anthony Towns? Brilliant. Is this the Towns we have to see moving forward here for the Knicks?
Absolutely. Look, Moose, the Knicks played with, as Greg Popovich would say, appropriate fear. They played with a level of desperation because they understood going down 3-1 to this hungry Atlanta Hawks team, not something that you want to sign up for. And it started with Karl-Anthony Towns. Did you say 10 assists tonight?
10 assists.
So he wasn't just scoring. He was doing the playmaking thing. And by the way, you could make the case, this is not being hyperbolic, he's been the best Knick in this series. Most consistent on offense. He's given you some defense as well. He had a couple of block shots late in that Game 3 performance that we would remember had they won the game. So, yes, to answer the question, I don't think he's going to get 10 assists a night. That's not the Karl-Anthony Towns we know. But being more demonstrative, being more engaged offensively, and having the offense run through him, not primarily because you still trust Jalen more, but just seeing that level of tenacity from Cat, I think will send this Knicks team to, the heights that we envision, in that they can win this conference if both of those two players, in Brunson and Cat, are playing exceptionally well.
All right, speaking of Brunson, can Brown and the Knicks have sustained success with this version of the Knicks captain?
Well, I like the Knicks offense that's the not Jalen Brunson or bust offense, where it's more guys being
moving
involved.
the ball.
OG was incredible tonight. He was awesome in Game 3. Unbelievable tonight. Josh Hart played very well. Deuce McBride comes off the bench. He's hitting threes again, and we just talked about Cat. And so I like this version of the Knicks offense because they're too good, Moose. They're too talented for them to just be, at the hands of Brunson doing every single thing on offense. So if they can get everyone locked in and engaged, I trust them a lot more.
We'll sit there watching Brunson play iso ball. All right, do you think the decision by Mike Brown to put Hart on C.J. McCollum ends up being a series-defining move by the Knicks head coach?
Listen, I did not love watching Deuce McBride get the assignment at the end of Game 3.
No, size matters.
I am not going to say it's series-defining because the NBA, you get the matchup that you want. You put a guy in the pick and roll, and you can pick on the little fellas. But I do love the adjustment, and you got to give Josh Hart a lot of credit for what he did tonight. He, provided a lot of resistance to C.J. McCollum and then got it going offensively. Josh Hart was huge in this game, and now all of a sudden we've got a new series. 2-2, best of 3, Knicks back to having home court advantage.
Yeah, and that Garden, MSG, it's going to be rocking Game 5 Tuesday night.